Okay, let's get to chapter 1. So, if you look at the cover here, this is the cover of the textbook we're going to have. So, Microeconomics, Don Walkman, chapter 1, Introduction. So, there are a lot of concepts we want to introduce in microeconomics, and here it is a brief outline. Okay, so first of all, economics, we have actually have two fields. One is called microeconomics and the other is macroeconomics. So microeconomics is about the study of individual, consumer, and producer. And macroeconomics is about the general performance of the economy. And so for microeconomics, the focus will be on the price behavior, the markets, and the interaction of the market, and some other economic policies on consumption, on production, etc. And for macroeconomics, is about the general performance of the economy, and it is not about specific price. It is about a general price level, about the employment level, and interest rate, okay, and economic growth, all these things. And so for microeconomics, as we just talked about, individual producer want to maximize profit, individual consumer want to maximize their benefits, their welfare, and but for a government, okay, there is no set target, okay, for say unemployment rate or inflation rate, because if you have high inflation, of course, that's not good. But if you have very low inflation, you can have deflation. That may hurt the economy more. So micro and macro, okay, they have different approaches. And so here we are talking about microeconomics, and I teach macro also. So if you like to know more about how the macroeconomic works, you are encouraged you to take that. And so it said there are several things we want to discuss in microeconomics. So first of all is about what goods producers want to produce. Okay, what they want to produce. Of course, they want to produce what people want. And how going to produce? So this is the producer theory. And for whom to produce this good? It is about, okay, it is about markets. Okay, the market has demand and supply, and so consumer want to have put their bid, and the producer, get people to know how much they would ask. So it is the producer's ask price, and whether they can match consumer's bid. Okay, so basically, what to produce is about the market. Okay, what kind of factors production that the producer need to get to satisfy the needs of the consumers, and how is the production function, how it works, and how the producer put together the factors production to produce what people want, and then put it into the market, okay, for the producer and consumer to interact, and then the price will be the final result of the interaction of the market, and so the goods will be available to those put the highest bid. Okay, and then it talked about the alternative mechanism for solving the problems of resources allocation. Let me get this part done so that, but it doesn't work quite well. Anyway, we will try. So there are alternative mechanisms to solve the problem. And the mechanism we just talked about is market. But there are other ways. But in this course, we don't have that much time to talk about some other ways. So, for example, Taiwan, U.S. is in an economy we call capitalist system, free market. Okay, free market. But let us say in Cuba, okay, in Cuba or in Turkey, there are a lot of government regulation. That is, whatever you want to produce, you follow the order. From this point of view, probably we can say communist China, it is also a different system because, they have economic plans, and whatever the firms want to produce or the consumers want to demand, okay, basically there is a plan. So it basically they have to follow the guideline. But in Taiwan, okay, in the US, there's no such guideline. Of course, well, for individual goods or services, that may be the case. For example, vaccine. Okay, so it is totally different issue. But anyway, we will talk about it later. And here it says, how economy is going to build models. But after learning this course, we will not show you how to make models, okay? But you will learn some models, so that's quite a little bit different. Here, also the definition of a lot of basic economic concepts such as economic agent. Okay, economic agent, it can be a consumer, can be a producer, okay? And market, okay? Market, basically, you have a group of people, okay, buyers and sellers. So when we talk about market, it's not necessarily, you have a physical position, okay, say night market, okay, because we can buy goods online. So virtual market, and equilibrium, when supplies equals demand, okay, quantity supply equal to quantity demand, you get an equilibrium. That is, whoever want to buy and offer a reasonable price, and whoever need a reasonable cost to cover, and they cover. So producer and a consumer, okay. If those want to buy, offer a reasonable price and bought it, and those who can offer some products at the desired price, okay. So quantity supply equal to quantity demanded. At that point, we say we have an equilibrium. Pareto efficiency is a little bit more complicated. Supposedly we should discuss this somewhere when we talk about consumer benefits or the social benefits. But let us talk about a little bit now, okay? Pareto efficiency, it means that it is a situation no one wants to change, okay? And if someone change and someone gets more benefits, the other will suffer. Okay, so it's a situation that nobody, okay, wants to make any changes to it, because if someone wanna be get better, some other gonna get worse. Okay, so this is a situation that no one would like to change, and no profitable exchanges exist. So this is a very rough concept, okay, very rough. It doesn't say who has what, okay, or has how much, okay. And so in terms of distribution, okay, some people may get a lot, some people may get very little, okay. And so let us say a society in a medieval period, okay, you have an overlord, okay, and control a whole manor or a whole small town, a whole castle, and as a matter of fact, he controls everything, okay. But because of the feudal system, people even though they have very little, but there's no incentive or no mechanism or no way for them to change the status. Okay, so anyway, it's a rough concept. It means no profitable exchanges exist. So if you want someone to be better, others will be, worse. And so this is a situation we call Pareto efficiency. Okay, so we have two other concepts. One is positive economics, okay, and the other is normative economics, okay. So positive economics. So let us say, if we increase tax on cigarette, okay, if we increase tax on cigarette, necessarily because of the analysis of demand and supply, okay, if you put a tax on the producer, of course, it's going to increase their cost. They're going to produce less, okay? And in this case, because people say, cigarettes not good, okay, it hurt your health, and so if you have a tax, what you get in the market, you're going to have a higher price and lower consumption level, okay? So positive economics is about what will happen when a variable changes, okay? And from this analysis, we know when tax changes, what will happen in the market. But for normative economics, it involves value judgment, okay? It involves value judgment. So we can put tax on a lot of goods, but why cigarette, okay? For the cigarette smokers, they will say why, right? Because it will hurt their benefits. For them, consume cigarettes, increase their welfare, increase their utility. And you increase tax on it, well, there will be a big problem, right? Okay? They say, because of that, our benefits, our utility are adversely impacted, okay? So why cigarette? Why not gasoline? Okay, why not food? Why not sugar? Why not Coca-Cola, right? So there are other things we can have taxes on. Why it has to be cigarette? Okay, there's value judgment because for some people, we say cigarette is not good to health, not only to your health, but for others, non-smokers. Okay, but for non-smokers else, it also is not good. Okay. Let us have one more example. Water. Okay. Water is a very precious resources, and also a very important item for people's health and consumption. Okay. If you want to produce rice, fruits, vegetables, you all need water. Okay. And if you want to produce steel, okay, semiconductors, a lot of other products, okay, you also need steel, okay? And so, who is going to get water? Remember, it's not too far away, right? In February, in March, and in April, what do we have? We have a drought, very severe drought. Some of the reservoir, that is like a big water tank, right? The reservoir, a big dams, it only has 5% water remaining, and so there is a great shortage of water. Okay, so then the question is, who should get this precious water? Okay, of course we all need to eat. So then the question should be easy, right? Farmers should get water. But Taiwan is a export-oriented economy. If we don't have exports of semiconductors, computers, cell phones, notebooks. What happened? We don't have any foreign exchange reserve. We won't be able to, import a lot of oil, gasoline that we need for production and need for survival, right? So who should get water? This is a normative economics, okay? But from a positive economics perspective, who should get water? It's very easy. See how the market works. The market, okay, the product is for those who can bid a higher price. And the goods will be available to those who put the highest bid. Just so simple. But if you look at that, we will be in trouble because, a cell phone can be, $10,000. And what about rice? What about fruits? What about vegetables? You have the tons of vegetables, tons of rice to have that price, right? And so if we allocate water purely through market, what happens is that the farmers will lose. And so then we don't have any production of food in Taiwan. Of course, we can import our food, vegetables, rice, beef, pork, chicken, whatever, right? But, well, if you don't have any domestic production, then it will be a very dangerous situation because because Taiwan is an island, okay? If for some reason the food cannot get into Taiwan in a timely fashion, what happened? They're going to be hungry. They're going to be famine. So anyway, positive economics is, the analysis using economic models, theories, and whatever you get, that's what you get. And normative economics, it is about value judgment. Okay, it is not simply about a variable changes, for example, price or income or weather that affects the market. It affects a lot of people's life, and it affects which group, okay, and how you gonna evaluate the impact on some people rather than the others. Okay, another example is we talk about in the previous hour carbon tax. Okay, carbon tax in terms of the analysis of economics, it is very good because it will of course affect the market, impact the market, and so producers, okay, if they have to pay carbon tax, they know that they have to conserve on their energy, or they invest in renewable energy, solar power, wind power, and etc. But the point is, okay, the producer will say, why should we bear the cost? And of course, if they transfer the cost to consumers will feel the pressure because the price will be higher for their consumption. Okay, a lot of other examples. We will we will continue the following topics. So what is economics? Micro, it is about the study of the behavior of individual economic decision makers. So households, basically consumers, businesses, that's for firms and governments. Okay, macroeconomics, overall economic activity for the entire economy. So it is about the level of output, GDP, right, gross domestic product, unemployment, inflation, growth, price level. Okay. The resources, that's the factors of production. We have land, labor, raw materials, machinery, and sometimes we call entrepreneurship. That's the management, okay, their efforts in organizing the firms to make production. Scarcity, the fundamental economic problem, we deal with, okay, the fundamental problem economic deal with is that there's a scarcity of resources. But, in terms of scarcity, really is relative to our desire, okay? Because we just want so much, okay? Want so much. We in the previous hour we talked about the public goods issue, okay? So the ocean, okay, is filled of fish, but because they are there and they are free to catch, so a lot of people just catch too much. So people just desire too much. And so even though we have so many, species of fish in the ocean, but, we suffer from, the scarcity issue because people desire just too much and catch too much, okay, out of the ocean. So the market is an organization. It's not necessarily, a physical place. So you have buyers and sellers get together. We can get together online. So, for example, we buy stocks, okay, but we don't necessarily, have a physical market that, people go there to sell and buy, stocks. It is actually online, okay, a virtual market. So it doesn't have to have a physical location. So fundamental microeconomic problem, what to produce, okay, it depends on demand, what consumers want. And so how to produce this, it depends on what consumers want, and then the producer have to figure out what kind of factors production they would need to produce the goods people need, okay? And who will get the products? And even though we say products, it can be goods or services, okay? For services, for example, we say, the stock market, people want to buy stocks, right? They have to go through the brokers to do that. And the brokers offer you services, even though they don't give you anything, but they provide you a venue to buy stocks, so that's services. Opportunity cost, we talk a little bit about it. If there's an opportunity, there is a cost. If there's no opportunity, there's no cost at all. It is different from the accounting cost. We talked about it, last hour. So let me give you another example. So sometimes when we want to get gasoline and we go to the gas station, if you purchase a certain level of gasoline, you can get free water. Bottled water. And generally, this kind of bottled water, of course, to the gas station, it will be cheaper. So let us say the cost is $10, okay? And so, what is the opportunity cost of this bottled water for the gas station? Is it $10 or something else? Usually, if we want to get a bottled water, 600 cc, at a convenience store, it will be something like $18, $20. Let us say it's $20. And so, what is the opportunity cost to the gas station for this bottle of water? Is it $10 or $20? Because for the gas station, it has an opportunity to give you for free to you to make you purchase more gasoline at a gas station, or it can sell to other consumers. So even though the cost is $10, because it has two opportunities. One is to give it to you. The other is to sell to consumers. Of course, he can also consume himself. The gas station, the boss of the gas station can consume himself. And the highest is $20. So if the gas station gives you this bottle of water, it will lose the opportunity to sell it to other consumers. And this opportunity is to sell at $20. So because of that, the opportunity cost is $20, not $10. But the $10 is the accounting cost. But in economics, microeconomics, we talk about opportunity cost, so that will be $20. Okay, so let us look at another example. So let us say you have three offers. Okay, you have three offers. One is monthly salary, $30,000, and the other $40,000, and another $60,000. So 30, 40, 60 grand. So which one you're gonna choose? In this case, you wanna get one with the least cost. So if you choose one with 30 grand, then you will lose the opportunity to get 60 grand. So your opportunity cost will be $60,000. So what you do, you will get the one with offer $60,000. So your opportunity cost will be $40,000. Okay. So in terms of what you get, you get the one with the highest offer. In terms of what you pay, you get the one with the least. Okay. And resource allocation, it really depends on the market. Okay, it really depends on the market and how the market works. Sometimes it's not working well. So we talk about water, right? When we have drought, as a matter of fact, the price of water for household, actually it did not change, and that's not quite right, because people will not, okay, save water, because for them the water is still very cheap. Okay, so sometimes we need to have a market that works to reflect the scarcity of the resources, but sometimes, okay, it does not work that way. Okay, either it's because of government regulation or some government policy. But anyway, so resource allocation, the most efficient one is the market. Okay, but sometimes the market does not work as it is supposed to be. Okay, so Adam Smith said, laissez-faire, laissez-passer. Laissez-faire means leave things alone. Laissez-passer, let goods pass through. So don't interfere the market and let the goods move freely. But well, we know sometimes it does not work that way. Okay. Okay, so why? Because we have a command system. So as I talk about Cuba, right? Cuba basically is a country that regulates on everything. So foreign exchange, any kind of products, okay? And the traditional system, okay? So an economy system that solves the problem of resources allocation by having households and firms produce and distribute goods the way they have been produced and distributed in the past. So what kind of system this have? It is, as I talk about, a feudal system. Okay, so basically you have an overlord, just like king is an aristocrat. Okay, people have to produce and to satisfy the needs of the king or the overlord. Okay, so basically it's a different kind of system. A market system is what is more efficient. Okay, that's what I say, right? And basically it is an system, okay, pushed forward by an invisible hand. Command system is not good. Okay, so recently probably this pen does not work well. China, okay, wanted to share the commonwealth, to share the wealth of the others. But if it is the profit I make is due to my hard work or my intelligence. Why and how should I, share this with others? So you can see this kind of system, it is problematic. Okay, you're gonna get into trouble because if you have to share your profits with some others, you will not work quite as hard. So because of that reason, some people say the market going to collapse. And recently, China also have some policies say the market price, okay, the price of a house should not drop. Well, why? It is a matter of supply and demand. So if there is not enough demand and too much supply, what happens? The house price will go down. And it is not a bad news because when the price of the house goes down, people may tend to buy more. So, sorry. Anyway, for the command system, there's just too much interference, and traditional system is by the tradition, and now we seldom see them in modern society. Okay, so mostly, how the system work is by market. Okay, by market. So people bid due to their satisfaction, their utility, and the producer X their price because of the production cost they put into production. And this system is a much better one because they are free to choose, okay, and producers are free to supply, and there's no intervention, and people get what they want, okay. So why we want to study microeconomics? Because it can help us understand how the world works. It is a little bit exaggeration. At least we will know what kind of goods the firms will produce, and how to satisfy the needs of individual. Okay, and then of course as a whole, if every market works well, the nation will work well, and people get what they deserve. Okay, and microeconomics can provide insights to possible solutions to many types of social problems, and this is for sure. And basically, there is no need for other kind of intervention for the governments by the governments, and just let the market work. It will be just fine. And the principle is by Adam Smith, an invisible hand. Okay, now we talk about model. Model is kind of difficult to devise, but here we're going to talk about something very simple. Okay, so here is the years of education. So we are talking about the education market, years of education, and here is the income. Okay, so model is a simplified and abstract representation of the real world, and in this case we are talking about the education market. Okay, econometrics is something more difficult. I'll just briefly explain it. We won't discuss it in details in class. Econometrics is basically a statistical model. Okay, statistical model. We figure out a dependent variable and several independent variables, and we figure out some. Then you see consumption. Okay, consumption. Everyone needs consumption to survive, and how you're going to consume. It depends on your income. Okay, and sometimes you can borrow money, and it also depends on the interest rate. So you basically can devise a model to figure out how much a person consumes based on his income and the market interest rate. Okay, so that's a very basic idea about it. But here we are going to talk about education. And here we have some assumptions, and then from this assumption and from the data, we can get the conclusion. Okay. So we have economic agents. So it is a single person. It can be a producer. It can be a consumer, producer, or a government. And the markets, we have product markets and factor market. Okay. So these are the basic things we just have talked about. And so product market, how to produce and how much to produce. If we talk about education, we can use Taiwan as an example. So you know, when I just got back from Taiwan in year 2000, we have more than 168 schools, and a lot of schools are trying to enhance their qualification and to be a university. Okay. And why we have so many schools and so many people want to run university, want to get a university to provide university education to Taiwanese. The reason is quite simple, because they expect there will be many students. So, honestly, if you build schools, you provide education, but, for the provider, okay, the purpose is to make money. As I say, we, in previous hour, talk about the origins of the firms, why we have firms. And university is just like firms. But, the market will change, and because, people just have too few babies, okay? And so if we get fewer babies, then what happened? We don't have that many students. If we have don't that many students, what happened? Okay? Some schools will not be able to survive because they need students. Their customers are students. They provide education to students. And so this is an example of how the market works, okay, for college education. And factor market, we will not discuss it here. We will talk about it much later, okay? And there are also asset market, okay, asset market, so like stocks or bonds, okay? So this is not a point we want to discuss. Factor payments, basically we assume households are buyers of final products and also providers for factors, for example, labor. And so we have household provide labor or other factors production, and they get the payment, okay? And it could be wages, it could be interest, it could be rent, it could be profits. So markets and market system. This is basically how the market works. So let's look at it here. Firms, okay, is the producer, provides product market, and then the consumers, the household, and they are the buyers of the product market. And the household provide labor, and the firms acquire this labor. And so this is a economic circulation from product market, okay, from firms to product market, and from household to factors market, and then to firms. And local market or domestic market is just a limited area, and global market is, of course, the whole world. Equilibrium is something very important to the concepts we talk about, supply demand. Okay, we have quantity demanded equals quantity supply, then you're gonna get the equilibrium. And for the market structure, okay, that's much, we will talk about it much later, okay. So efficient, inefficient, it really depends on how well it's run, right? And it depends on if we can solve who gets what and who pays how much in an easy fashion. So the command system and the traditional system will be much more inefficient. And the efficient one will be the market system, okay? That the market works. Leave things alone, let goods pass through. For Pareto improvement, we briefly talked about it before. Pareto improvement, Pareto efficiency, these two concepts, okay, we will discuss it a little bit later, okay. The basic idea is that, okay, the basic idea is that it's a situation that no one wants to change, and profitable exchanges, profitable opportunities for exchanges were no longer there, okay? And Pareto improvement means that we can get everybody better or get somebody better without hurting the others. That is called Pareto improvement. And Pareto efficiency is that, if you want to get someone better or someone's better, the others will suffer, okay? And Pareto improvement is something that we can actually make everyone better or someone better without hurting the others. So positive economic analysis, we have talked about it a few minutes ago, and normative economics, the same thing. So positive, we use economic models to predict the actual consequences of action. So here, without any value judgment, okay? And normative, the study of what should be, requiring the use of value judgments to determine whether the predicted outcomes of economic actions are positive or negative, okay? So we talk about water, okay? The allocation of water, the tax on, renewable energy or carbon tax, okay, all these issues. Social optimum is something that is best for the society. Usually, we will use a consumer surplus as a benchmark to evaluate social optimum. Okay, so that is about it. So please read a textbook, because this class is taught in English. If you do not read a book, a lot of terms you will be very unfamiliar, and also you may not be able to understand what I'm talking about. And there are some homeworks, exercises in the book. For chapter 1, please read it, get a book and read it as soon as you can. And later on, we're going to get to something much more, I won't say difficult, it will be more complex, because we will talk about a lot of terms, a lot of products, and some of the products that may not be familiar to you, and taxes, and some other concept. There is a price floor, price ceiling, okay? Even though you may know about floor and ceiling, but price floor, price ceiling, it has specific meaning, and how it works, and how it will affect the actions of economic agents, producer, consumers, okay? So all these things are very important in class. So please read a book as soon as you can, preview before you come to class, and review it after class. And hopefully everyone can do well in this class. Thank you.